What the hell am I looking at here? Which one is supposed to be the dude?
You've been banned for hate speech.
Well, that's fine, but I still don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
What is up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the hilariously heinous Dr. Disaster, and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 comes from a popular IP, and it's a sequel to a much-loved game. But on the other hand, this title has taken way too long to make. It sounds like development was a nightmare.
I've slipped into the seventh circle of hell!
Sure, if you look on Steam right now, you will see that the game has a pretty large number of followers, but this game has also been announced for a long-ass time. In fact, if you look at the Steam charts, you will see that this game had people playtesting it 8 frickin' years ago, meaning that it's been in at least a semi-playable state for almost a decade. But interest in this game from consumers appears a bit tepid, as it dropped out of the top 150 bestsellers on Steam down to 235. There was a controversy a few weeks back where we learned that 2 of the 6 playable clans in the game were going to be locked behind a day 1 DLC $30 paywall, and people were rightfully pissed.
You greedy dirtbag!
However, just the other day, it was announced that they have now added everything to the base game, and I expected that sales of Bloodlines 2 would climb, but it hasn't done it. In fact, as I showed you a minute ago, its place on the Steam top sellers list has actually fallen quite a bit in recent days, and I expect that the lackluster interest has to do with 2 things. Number 1, the gender-ambiguous characters have driven away people who don't care for pandering to the they-them crowd.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
And number 2, it sounds like the production hell that this game was in hasn't amounted to a fun game. In fact, it sounds disjointed as heck. Polygon here even refers to it as 2 games stapled together, and if even the game journalists are warning us that a AAA game has problems, then you just know that it's bad. But that doesn't stop them from trying their damnedest to push you into buying it in a headline that is an absolute indictment of how the game journalists operate these days. PC Gamer, one of the worst rags in the industry, tells us that Bloodlines 2 is richly authentic, intriguingly written, dripping with brooding atmosphere.
Hey, that's pretty good.
But it isn't very fun to play, which, I don't know about you, but as someone who actually plays games for, the actual game, it seems to me that they should have led with that. But sales over in the retail spaces don't sound like they're very good, as I will show you in a few minutes here. Nobody is being fooled into buying this game. Gamers are looking at this turd and saying,
No thanks, bro.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you smack the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. We have been gathering up a lot of new space pirates into our crew, so it's already time to ask this question again.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow? Yo!
We are now sitting at 154,000 space pirate a-holes in this crew of ours, and as is the custom on this channel, with every 1,000 subscribers I add a new ship to the fleet in order to house the new guys. This time we are adding Samus's gunship from Metroid at the request of one of you. If anyone else has recommendations for future ships, drop them into the comment section of the video and I will add them to my ever-growing list. Super chats get bumped to the top of the list, and also, for your reference, I will be adding an alphabetical list of all the ships already in the fleet to the description of this video. But in any event, I appreciate everyone being here.
I knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
But alrighty, let's take a look at what's going on with Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 and how they're doing in sales thus far. We are exactly a month removed from the game's release date, so I thought it would be interesting to see how it's performing compared to other games in retail sales. For anyone who doesn't know, I used to own my own store which sold video games, and I still have several contacts in retail spaces, people who run nearly 50 game stores among them, and who have access to the sales data of those stores. They often share pre-order data with me so that we can see how well a game is doing compared to its contemporaries, and Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 does not appear to be doing very well at all. In those almost 50 stores, they are currently sitting at 15 pre-orders for the game. And keep in mind, that is not 15 orders per store or anything like that. It's 15 pre-orders in total. Now, to give this some context, last year, when Dragon Age the Veilguard came out, when it was 30 days removed from its release, that game had 31 pre-orders. And I like to use Dragon Age as a baseline comparison because we all know that it is a consummate example of a AAA failure. In contrast to that, to give an example of what it looks like when a game ends up selling fairly well, in these same stores last year when Warhammer Space Marine 2 was 30 days out from its release, that game had sold 142 copies in these same stores. So there is a clear distinction between what a game that sells well looks like versus a game that ends up selling like shit. Bloodline 2 is currently trending well behind the likes of the Veilguard, which is not a good look for them at all. Just like Dragon Age the Veilguard, this is a game that has taken a hell of a long time to make. The initial release date was supposed to be all the way back in 2020 for cripe's sake, but it didn't happen, and here we are, 5 years later, and it's just now going to be coming out. And you have to think that the development costs of this thing have skyrocketed over the last half a decade, and just like with Dragon Age the Veilguard, they basically changed this game that they were making right in the middle of development. And those aren't the only similarities. Just like with Dragon Age the Veilguard, as I showed you before, the corporate media is trying their damnedest to make this game sound like something you should buy, even though it likely isn't even very good. Look at how much content that you have to read in this PC Gamer article before they start telling you that actually the game sucks. You've got all of this to read through, and then all of this, and then finally, they get to the point. It says here, so far so good, for the most part. But while all this authentic World of Darkness flavor goes a long way, where the game has me much less convinced is when the talking stops and the action starts. Bloodlines 2's combat is too awkward to be empowering, fights against ghouls and lesser vampires almost always saw me badly outnumbered, and with the first-person perspective limiting my peripheral vision, the result was that my respected elder vampire spent rather a lot of time getting sucker punched in the back of the head. Unlockable bloodline powers, including everything from mind control to boiling a target's blood until they explode, go some way to evening the odds, but I never felt like they wove naturally into the rhythm of combat. More complex powers felt too fiddly to deploy in the chaotic melees, while simpler ones often just worked as a limited use I win button, rather than part of a rounded arsenal. So yeah, combat sounds like shit. And when you combine this bad combat with the fact that the game is reportedly not much of an RPG from the sound of things, much less so than the original by most accounts, and when you combine that with the fact that the characters are these gender ambiguous lumps of flesh that just don't appeal to anyone, which was enough to get people banned on the Steam Community Hub by the community managers if you complained about it. They would ban you if they saw you talk about that sort of thing. But when you combine all that with the story of the development hell that this game apparently went through, where it seemingly transformed the game into a completely new game somewhere in the middle of development, well, it's no surprise surprise to me at all that there aren't a lot of people pre-ordering this game. It's hard to know exactly what to expect from such a weird release like this one, but the signs are pointing toward a flop. But I'm gonna leave it there. Are you interested in grabbing this game, or are you saying hell no? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.